My man George Mosey. What's good, Jay?
What's up, cuz?
Last night, Shakur Stevenson won a unanimous decision against Edwin De Los Santos. A lot of people aren't happy. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, you know, I love Shakur. I'm a huge Shakur fan. Like I said, help me to help you. It's hard to kind of take up for him, and he go out there and he fighting like a 45-year-old Floyd Mayweather. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
YSM Sports Media doing their thing. Subscribe. That's George Mosey, boxing coach from Philly. Neither him or Derek Bosey Ennis were impressed with what Shakur put out there last Thursday. Now, George Mosey kind of stole my script. I was going to point out he did fight like an old man, but he is influenced by that Mayweather style for more money than Pretty Boy. He's also influenced by Andre Ward. Andre, more than Floyd, always had an oldish type of style compared to Bernard Hopkins often. I mean, George didn't even say he fought like a 37 or 38-year-old Mayweather from 2014, 2015. He said a 45, 46-year-old. So we're talking about the Mayweather who's currently doing exhibitions. And it's difficult to argue with that assessment. Hopefully Shakur doesn't see that as a compliment, because it's not. I pointed out in the build-up, one fight in 13 months leading up to the DeSantis fight. For a 26-year-old, perhaps needs to be addressed. Post-fight, he said he wasn't feeling good leading up to the fight. Then Bob Arum stepped in and said it was a bad shoulder. A few people have pointed out, when you say you wasn't feeling good, that sounds more like you felt ill. Maybe you're under the weather, flu, headache, or it sounds a little different from a shoulder injury. Some people are confused whether it was a shoulder injury or a hand. Bob Arum said it was shoulder. But when he was asked, was his hand giving him trouble while he was throwing the left so little, he said he didn't want to make no excuses, but his silence sounded like, yeah, my hand was injured, but I'm just not going to make no excuses. But I don't know. If that's what it is, that's what it is. You know, people are going to be suspicious about that, because his last fight was 6 months ago or something like that. And like, when these 26-year-olds are fighting twice, sometimes once a year, them two performances, people expect you to enter that ring at your best. And if you are injured and you go in the ring, they expect you to fight through the pain and not be so cautious. The way the public and the media see it is like, well, what have you been doing all the time you've been inactive? That you're not fighting fit? Perhaps if he was injured, perhaps he should have called the fight off, if that's the case. Because this fight wasn't good PR. Now, obviously, a lot of people are going to say, well, he needed to fight because he hadn't fought for months, and he would have missed out on his world title opportunity. The fight resembled a sparring session, that's the issue. You know, okay, he won a belt, but the people who purchased their tickets or their subscription at ESPN, did they win? And as for those who purchased tickets, will they do that next time he fights? You know, it was Bob Arum's idea to make him bypass 130 and go up to 135 where the names are. But how's that working out? What leverage can he get over Tank? The likes of Lomachenko, you know, he'll be calling for a unification if Lomachenko beats Kambosos. But like I said last time out, they'll use the last fight that he had against Edwin De Santos to say he's not value for the person who'll be asking to fight the likes of a Lomachenko. And he could find himself blackballed from the big fights for taking a fight when he was injured, allegedly. Was it worth it? Shakur's putting it down to being a gym rat. I had a bad performance. He said he's got to take some breaks. He's got to stop being in the gym all the time. That's how you cause injuries. That's how your body gets a little fatigued. The question is, though, he barely got touched by the Japanese guy in May, stopping him in the 6th round. And we don't see him in the ring until November after that. Now, why are the boxers these days spending so much time in the gym like Shakur, but so little time in the ring? Why wasn't he back in the ring by July after such an easy win against the Japanese guy? Now, you know, the coaches are going to say we need to keep them in the gym to develop their craft, but what's the point burning them out in the gym if they can't do what they need to do in the ring? Now, there's a balance there to be met, but it's swinging one way a little too far, if you ask me. How do you promote fighters when they fight so infrequently? How do they stay sharp? How do they develop and retain that killer instinct if they're not in the ring doing what they're supposed to be doing 3 to 4 times a year, 3 at a minimum. Or, you know, if you're at the higher tax bracket and you're fighting twice a year in big fights, then you have to adjust the schedule. The bigger fights take a little more promotion and red tape to get made. Or so we've been led to believe. The Saudis, they announced a card just the other week for the 23rd of December. I didn't see none of the boxers complaining they've only got 6 weeks to prep because they're getting paid a whole lot of money. It can be done if they're incentivized. A lot of fighters just sit on the sideline because they don't believe they're getting paid the dollar or pound note amount they believe they're worth. And they're just sitting there idle. Skills deteriorating, sharpness, market value and everything. You know, how can you be sitting there inactive saying that you want to be paid XYZ when nobody knows a lot of these guys? And a lot of that is through inactivity. Surely if you're just staying in the gym all the time with no fight date, you pick up bad habits. And then after you do fight and you underperform and you're not going to fight for another 6-7 months, is the confidence where it needs to be? Look at the likes of Keith Thurman. 1 fight in 2 years and a quarter before he fought Manny Pacquiao. Now some of it was down to injury, but a lot of it was down to him getting his mind right. And we saw that performance. CHARLO saying he's a little nervous. He's been out in the ring for 2 years, coming back. No wonder he's nervous. Takes on David Benavidez' little brother Jose. Jose Benavidez is a bit of a loose cannon, and JERMALL is well documented. He's had issues with depression recently. That's going to be an interesting fight. Even when JERMALL was last active, he wasn't looking that good, as I've seen him anyway. I would have picked him to beat Jose Benavidez, but I'm on the fence right now. David Benavidez versus Andrade, I'm on the fence with that, because once again, Andrade, 1 fight in how many years now? 2.5 years? 35 years of age?
I just don't know.
Free arena, Dublin. Can Katie Taylor avenge the first loss of her pro career? She challenged undisputed 140-pound champion Chantel Cameron and lost to MD. It was a UD, in all truth. You know, Chantel won. She won well. When I say it was a UD, it should have been a UD, but, you know, the scorecard was basically a bit of damage control for Katie's first defeat. Katie, 37, getting on a bit, but, you know, Chantel's 32. Not exactly a spring chook herself, is she? Katie, not used to being in the underdog position. Chantel should be a firm favourite. I was neutral first time around, didn't have a dog in the race or nothing like that, but I want Katie Taylor to win this. Not because I like her more than Chantel Cameron, but it'd be great if this went to a trilogy, classic female boxing trilogy. Then they could take it to Croke Park and potentially fill out the stadium, and that would be a monumental event. I'd be tempted to go over there myself. Looking forward to that fight. I don't embarrass myself and pick Katie and she gets trounced. I have a suspicion she could get it, could be controversial. Darren Barker and the other geezer was noticing that she looked pretty quick on her feet and hands on the open workout, and she certainly needs a better start than she got last time, and it looks like that's what they're working on. I'm looking forward to watching Thomas Carty, the heavyweight, Zelfa Barrett. Paddy Donovan is on the card. Some good fights on there, some good fights. I wiped out the original wrap-up I'd done for the 2 UK cards, so I'm just going to quickly do this. We start with the Queensbury TNT Sports card. Solomon Dakers looked a little lucky to me to retain that English title. He's 8-0 now. His opponent Michael Webster is now 9-1 from Middlesbrough. And Solomon didn't have much snap on his shots. Webster was the one looking to do damage with his punches and looking to exchange. And at the least he should have got a draw. A few people are saying Eddie dodged a bullet by not challenging the matching rights that Frank Warren and Queensbury put up. I thought the Echo ESSUMAN Harry Scarff fight was tight. Not complaining about the result. Harry Scarff finished stronger, and he took ESSUMAN's British and Commonwealth and IBF European welterweight titles. Took his unbeaten record. Liam Davis won the European title against La Famina. That was a good fight. Famina, his defense was absolutely shocking for a European champion. He did catch Davis with a big shot, floored Davis. Davis got a little reckless. Davis got the job done in the 5th. Hopefully we get that Dennis McCann fight for the EBU Super Bantamweight title. That'd be good. Let's get it done, Frank. Let's get it done. Nick Bull versus Isaac DOGBOE. There was some controversy on the two knockdowns. Like, the knockdown against DOGBOE, was it a knockdown? And did the referee miss a knockdown against Nick Bull? But Nick Bull, he won well. He won well. He showed a little defensive frailties at times, but DOGBOE showed flashes of world class when he opened up with them big punches, but he just didn't do enough work. And it looks like he's transitioning into gatekeeper mode. Denzel Bentley looked like he fell asleep at the wheel, lost the upset majority decision to Nathan Heaney. Heaney took Denzel's British title. Heaney and his trainer, I don't know who his trainer is, they got their tactics spot on. They boxed, they moved, they punched often. Denzel done more damage with his punches, but with the crowd screaming for every punch that Nathan threw, he seemed to gain confidence, and hey, it was a good win. It was a good win. Majority decision. Then we go to the Sky Boxer card. Richard RIAKPORHE's win over Bregion was rather predictable. Second round finish. Tyler Denny took the European title at 160 against Matteo Signani. Signani is in his 40s, I believe. Head clash, open up the cut, but Tyler looked like he was in control. I did see Signani hurt him with one shot though. A lot of people complained because head clashes open up the cuts, but it's not tiddlywinks in there. Adam Azim, he won the European title as well, the headliner. I saw some good uppercuts which finished the fight, and the previous knockdown was some good hooking to the body. And you know, he did what he had to do. Let's get that Dalton Smith fight. Let's get that one. As most of you know, Conor Ben was back in the ring on September the 24th, and he outpointed Mexico's Rudolpho Orozco. Orozco is temporarily suspended by the Florida Boxing Commission after a post-fight drug test conducted by VADA. Conor was stringently tested by VADA to make that fight in Florida. He was also passed by the Association of Boxing Commission. They lifted his suspension. Also ranked by the WBC. Now, they haven't released details of what Orozco got popped for. Never stopped in 39 fights, not even dropped apparently, very durable. With a record of 32 wins, 24 knockouts, 4 losses, and 3 draws. He put in a gallant effort. He really did. He really did. But the state of play right now is the Florida Commission will likely address the matter in their next commission meeting yet to be determined. Orozco, who's from Mexico, may still be able to fight in Mexico because they may not adhere to the ruling, even if that is unethical, as they're saying here in boxing scene. So, boxing expert / Tyson Fury fanboy Patrick Whelan, do you think Fury is washed? As some armchair spectators on here have been saying, Lennox. Or do you reckon he just claimed a 12-week training camp and actually didn't have one? Didn't take it serious, etc. Francis, as we saw, most certainly did. Now, if Tyson Fury claimed he had a 12-week camp, but you're now saying he didn't, what is you know that he doesn't know? If he said he had a 12-week camp, how the f*** are you going to try and debunk that? Was there a ventriloquist who had his hand up his or something, making him say what he didn't want to say? No, it came out of his own mouth, unassisted. He didn't need prompting. It is what it is. But then again, you're not an armchair spectator. You know everything. You have insights to everything.
And even he hasn't had a very good performance since the second Wilder fight. The second Wilder fight was a brilliant performance for him. Third one, he got hit too much. Yeah, he got off the canvas and done the job. Dylan White, he's not elite world level. He's not the top boys. And Derek Chisora far from the top boys. So if you actually look at it and break it down that way, it's like you can understand why he didn't look the best. And I think he potentially might be on the slide.
So is Shane McGuigan an armchair spectator? What about Johnny Nelson? He said his legs are gone. Armchair spectator. So Lennox Lewis says Tyson Fury is not washed, but he doesn't think he went through a full training camp either. Better not make the mistake either against Usyk. Well, Lennox is not an armchair spectator, I guess. But how would he know what kind of camp Tyson Fury, or the duration of any camp that Tyson Fury was in? How does he know? People are acting like Tyson Fury hasn't been in close scraps before, whether it's nearly getting stopped by Otto Wallin on cuts, or beaten up in the inside by John McDermott years back. So, is he in decline? He doesn't need to be in decline. He's never been this all-conquering, unbeatable guy you're talking about. He doesn't need to be in decline. He needs a bigger sample size of contenders that are available right now. That's what he needs so we can see what kind of fighter he is. But fanboys like you cannot see the logic in that. Fanboys like you put him on a par with Muhammad Ali. Probably think Tyson Fury is better than Lennox Lewis. His old man saying the same thing. In the last 3 fights, John Fury's saying he's seen a bit of decline in Tyson Fury. John Fury believes his son needs more time to get prepared for Alexander Usyk. They're scheduled to fight 17th of February. But in John's opinion, Tyson needs more time to get his conditioning right and his weight right. That's what he told Metro, a British newspaper. This is today. He's saying there hasn't been a decline in his ability, but a decline in strength, power, and physical condition. He says he doesn't know what they're doing up there. You have to address it. He didn't look himself against Ngannou. He didn't look right. He said everything changed about him, his demeanor, his body. John said he was puzzled. He said he had been training, but there is training and there's training. If you're going to go at your own pace and no one is telling you otherwise, no one is going to offend you or kick you up the backside. He's saying nobody can teach Tyson how to box or teach him more than he knows. All they can do is put some muscle on there and make his body rock solid. He said Tyson looked fat, thin against Ngannou. He should have been better, a bit heavier, with a lot more muscle. Tyson is a mammoth fella. He needs to power up in the body department, and the only way you do that is a proper course. And they take time, and he's saying we don't have time. So his old man saying it. Now, he's 35, not 25. He hasn't always lived the perfect athlete's life. But him, like any other boxer, is vulnerable. There's never been this indestructible Tyson Fury. And if there's even 5% decline, that's enough to get him knocked out. That's enough to get him in fights that once maybe wouldn't have been competitive for him, become competitive all of a sudden. Yeah. The better discussion is, I don't want to bog it down in semantics with Usyk. Is he in decline, or is he as effective a heavyweight as he was cruiser? You know, both him and Tyson are not looking to fight beyond 2025 if necessary. Usyk talking about he's going to play professional football after his contracted fights with Tyson are through. Everybody keeps going back to that body shot, the borderline body shot that Daniel Dubois hit him with. And Tyson could have success if he goes downstairs. Tyson, 9 pounds heavier against Ngannou than he was against Derek Chisora. Was he having issues getting the weight off? And the issues he has, like drastic weight loss, is going to do what? It's not going to make him faster. It's going to deplete his reserves. He'll just be weaker. They complained about that when he fought Otto Wallin. That he drained off too much weight. He was 263 for the Tom Schwartz fight around July 2019, and he was 254 for the Wallin fight some 3 months later. And John was saying he was as weak as a kitten when he fought Wallin. You know what I mean? And came in a lot heavier for the Wilder fight, 19 pounds heavier for the Wilder fight, 273, possibly his career best effort. 4 pounds heavier in the third Wilder fight where he stopped him again, 264 for Dillian Whyte. See, these weight fluctuations are what you have to look at. It's basically yo-yo dieting. And he's been doing it for lengthy periods of his career. And at 35, it could just be catching up, and that's just that. All this shit that he took Ngannou lightly, when he out of his own mouth said, I'm not going to do what Anthony Joshua did at the MSG, focused on fighting Wilder and Fury, and took his eye off the ball and lost to the little FAT Mexican, as he put it. He was focused on Ngannou. But there's only so much he can do as an athlete. Whether it's prime or past it or what. It is what it is. Styles make fights, and yes, an MMA fighter with no boxing experience to speak of proved that to be a cliche, but a cliche that often is right more than it's wrong. Styles make fights. He just had issues with Francis' style. That's all it is. Francis showed no ill effects through his punches, like his neck weren't jerking back, which has an effect on what the judges see when he took Tyson's full-blooded shots. Even the elbow had no effect on him. Physical strength, Tyson wasn't able to tie up or wrap up, bullying Ngannou on the inside like he did Wilder. That stopped Tyson being effective as well. What you saw was Tyson Fury fighting one of the most physically imposing opponents he's ever faced. You know, I know some of you think Wilder in his punching power. His punching power doesn't mask a lot of other inadequacies he has to his game. Yeah, his boxing didn't look great when he was faced with someone physically stronger than any opponent I've seen him in with. And that includes Dillian, Derek Chisora, Vladimir Klitschko. And when I say stronger, I'm talking about actually using his physical size to try and push you back. Vlad doesn't do that. As strong and as muscled as he was, he didn't do that. You know, Eddie Hearn, he made a big deal out of Tyson Fury's performance, saying Anthony Joshua would knock him out and knock Ngannou out. But we don't know. We don't know. Styles do make fights, because Tyson Fury chopped that right hand down on Ngannou, and Ngannou barely blinked. Maybe if Tyson throws that same punch on Anthony Joshua, he gets a different result. That's why we need to see all these fights. You know, the Fury fans talking about AJ's irrelevant. Well, this is the problem with boxing right now. And the debate on Tyson Fury being great, for some, is going to go on. For me, it's a finished book, because he said he's going to vacate the belts after the first fight he has with Usyk. So he's assuming he's going to win. But if he wins, he's going to vacate the belts. That means he'll no longer be champion. He's probably going to fight Ngannou again for a bucket load of money. And he may continue to box, but just have exhibitions. That's what he may do. Just have little exhibitions like Floyd and just go on the mercenary circuit. He'll take whatever he can from the highest bidder. And that's fair enough. If he hasn't got the belts, he can fight who he wants. He can do what he wants.
Okay, fellas, let's get it on. Okay, fellas, let's get it on.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
This is that Mayor Hardcore Mansour on Boxing Beats and Rhymes YouTube channel. Tune in, because this is the place to be, man, all the time. Okay, fellas, let's get it on.
Boom, fast, wake up, I set it all bright. Look around and turn your wet to the bright night.
This is Tony Thompson, chilling with Boxing Beats and Rhymes.